This episode, we have a quick and basic rundown on a $70 million skyscraper real estate investment deal directly from the broker who sold it. Let's check it out. I'm Shane Harder, and I'm obsessed with becoming financially free through real estate. So let's become financially free together. I'm here with my good friend Andrew. We've been friends for many years, and I keep seeing all these posts on Facebook where you're like, yeah, I just sold this like insane building. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, he's like crushing it at life right now. That's amazing. Your role is a commercial real estate broker, right?
I'm a commercial real estate broker, right? So I help sell buildings. Sometimes I help buyers buy buildings. Sometimes I help tenants find buildings to lease. And sometimes I help landlords lease buildings they own. So I kind of have like a 4-point strategy to my business. So I represent a portfolio of over 5 million square feet here in Los Angeles that I predominantly lease. I work for the owners of these buildings and I lease them. So the owner of this building will call me and say, hey Andrew, I got 4 empty floors, I need to fill those floors. And so it's my job to then go out and scour the community and try and find tenants to fill those floors, and I'm paid a percentage basically of what any tenants will pay on those floors if we sign a deal.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so you have clients that are real estate investors.
I do.
And so explain to me how this works, because I don't know that many that invest in commercial buildings to lease out to like a business tenant.
Right.
So explain to me a little bit about how that world works.
Well, I mean, it's the same principle, right? It's the same principle as buying like a single family house. Say, okay, I'm gonna buy it for X amount of money. I think I could rent it out to the next person for X amount, and you look at how that returns, and if it makes sense financially for you, you'll do it. It's the same thing with these big buildings, but just on a larger scale. So you can take this building, for example, 660 South Figueroa. I sold this building right here a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And the former owner had, I think, not done a tremendous job leasing the building up and increasing its cash flow. And we sold it to a private family here in Los Angeles, a private investor that looked at it and said, hey, I can get all these rents up. The rents aren't quite as high as they should be. And also the lobby needed some updating. There was some just TLC that the building was in need of. And so that investor bought it, put money into it, restructured the rates, redid the marketing, and it's really made the building much more valuable.
Cool.
And it's done quite well with it. Generally speaking, this is very rare. It's rare for a building this big to be owned by a single person.
Well, and it seems like a building that big downtown LA to let itself get run down as well. It seems like not necessarily as big of a possibility for like improvement on it, but maybe I'm wrong.
It doesn't happen super often, but in the world that we're in, people are always pushing forward, right? You maybe at one point this was a fantastic, amazing building, but then this bad boy got built, and this thing's like the new shiny toy in the toy room, and so all the tenants want to be hanging out with this toy and not that toy anymore. So then there's an opportunity for someone to come in and make this building more appealing in the eyes of potential tenants. But most of the buildings in any downtown that you go to are going to be owned by large corporations. Sometimes they're publicly traded. They're really they're owned by massive ownerships. Every now and then you'll find one like this that's actually owned by a private individual, and I always think that's kind of cool.
It is cool. But you know what? It's interesting, the stuff that you're talking about though, where you see an opportunity to increase rents and to update some of the stuff. That's like the exact same discussion that I see like me and everybody on the team that I'm a part of having all the time about apartment complexes.
It's the same thing. It's just on a little bit larger scale, but it's the exact same thing.
It's a lot larger scale.
And also you look at like where a property is location-wise.
Yeah.
So when this building was purchased, this building here didn't exist. This hotel didn't exist. There was it was a Wilshire Grand Hotel. It was a 24-story hotel, really dilapidated, very old, and a phenomenal, irreplaceable location. And so the owner of Korean Airlines owned it, and he decided he's going to tear his hotel down and build this anew. Yeah, so the people that were buying 660 South Figueroa several years ago knew that tomorrow the building would be worth more than it is today, because the building across the street, this building was just a dirt pit, huge construction site.
Sure.
And so they said, well, we could buy it, we could live through maybe 2 years of construction across the street, but once this is done, this is going to be like the hottest corner in downtown LA, and we were able to buy it at a time when it wasn't quite as expensive. So you want to buy in the path of progress. You want to buy in a location that's always going to be in high demand, because things go up and down, right? The economy is cyclical, and there's going to be an earthquake. There's going to be, unfortunately, hopefully not, but a terrorist attack. Things happen in the world that makes the economy go like this. You want to buy, for me, you want to buy in a location that's always going to be in demand. For me, that's buy an ocean. It's buy a major school. it's by a dense urban center, you've got to be close to a magnetic pole that's like pulling people. They want to be, everyone wants to go to the beach. That will never change. God stopped making land a long time ago, and oceanfront property is always going to be in very, very high demand.
I love how you said that.
Yeah.
God stopped making land a long time ago.
Yeah, it's important. Write it down. It's an important quote.
I might quote you on that someday. I love it. So good. So good to see you. Anyway, we go through some of the details on this building. Are you able to reveal any of that stuff? Like, are you privy to any of those discussions where it's like, this is what the cash flows are looking at like now, this is what we think we can put
Honestly,
into? Honestly, is that not part of what goes to broker?
I could tell you, I literally don't even remember. I have so many deals and numbers and just circulating in my head.
Yeah. We
sold this 7 years ago at the time. I want to say, I can give you an example. I think rents at the time were probably in the $2.50 per square foot range. Since the owners bought it and did what they did with it, I think they're now kind of more in the $3.50 a square foot range. So that's a massive increase from there. I think a lot of that's just timing. A lot of real estate and any investing is timing.
Yeah.
They bought kind of toward the beginning of, kind of right after a recession. And so things naturally went up. But I don't remember any of the specific numbers.
Cool. Just out of my own curiosity, what was the sale price on it? I mean, that's a huge building.
I want to say this guy was about $70 million at the time.
And now and these are valued off of cash flow?
It depends. Sometimes they're valued off of cash flow, sometimes they're valued off of like price per pound. So for instance, if that entire building was empty, an investor wouldn't want to touch it because they buy it, there's zero cash flow, they're paying their property taxes, they're paying all the expenses. However, a user, let's say Apple's not going to buy this with tenants on the inside, but Apple might buy it if it's a completely empty building. They could instantly plug their people into. So Apple's not going to buy it on cash flow. Apple's going to buy it on location and price per pound. How much is it a square foot? Is what we're paying higher than what the comps show? And if it's not, then maybe it's a good deal for them.
Yeah, cool. Wow. That's such a fascinating concept. Because for multifamily, it's just all based off cash flow, really.
That's almost always based off cash flow.
Yeah.
Correct. It's cash flow. It's value add. I mean, if the cash flow is X today, what can it be tomorrow?
So let's do some rough math on this real estate investment. If we know the building sold for about $70 million when rents were $2.50 a square foot, if rents are now at $3.50 a square foot, that represents a 40% increase in the investment's value if we're assuming that the investment is valued off of cash flows. So adding a 40% increase to $70 million gives us a $98 million valuation, or an increase of approximately $28 million. So keep in mind that this 40% ROI calculation is only appreciation. It's not taking into consideration a lot of things. This is only for education purposes only anyway, but it's a lot of things like cost of money, maintenance, positive things like collection of cash flows, tax savings through accelerated depreciation. So in the real world, the actual return is going to be significantly higher when all those things are factored in. So this wraps up our episode. If you'd like to see the full interview with Andrew, click on this link up here. If you'd like to subscribe, click down here. And lastly, I only share deals that our team is working on with our friends. The good thing is I love making new friends. So if you'd like to connect and have a look at some of the deals that we're working on, click in the first link in the description of the video below, and we'll give you a call and we'll get to know each other. So thank you so much for watching, and I really look forward to joining you on the next episode. So see you then.